I am Alex, and I am a first year Master's of Theological Studies seminarian at the Iowa School of Theology in Denver. And today I decided to do a vlog on ecumenicalism, ecumenical theology for my practical theology class. And ecumenicalism, for those who do not know, is a Catholic term that means that kind of Catholic Church and non-Catholic Christians kind of coming together in a form of respectful unity and community and better understanding. So, an example was that of that is when Pope Francis was at the 500th year celebration of the Reformation a couple years ago. That's bringing two camps of Catholic and Protestant together, which really came into not effect, but the concept really was in the encyclicals of the Pope in the 50s, in the 1950s, 1960s kind of era, Vatican II flavor of shaping the Catholic Church, which was kind of weird because it was over 400 years after the Reformation in which there was able to be a start of kind of reconciliation. And so what I wanted to do for this project was what the questions we had to think about is what is going on, why is it going on, what ought we to do, and right. So if we look at I saw the concept of Protestant Catholic division as sort of a practical theology in which how do we respond to Christians in which we kind of disagree with theology. There are Catholics I agree with, there are Protestants I agree with, and then there's Catholics I don't agree with, and there's Protestants I don't agree with, right? So the Bible doesn't really tell us about it tells us about you will know them by their fruits, which yes, that's true. But what about when we get past that? When we get to an iron sharpens iron, but it's someone with a different theology than us. And that's why there's like over 30,000 denominations because there's this Joe Martin of Tattooed Theists has a video on this and talks about how Christianity is the most arrogant religion because there's always this language of my church is the true church. And so the case study for this video, because I could sit here and talk about what I saw, what I read on the internet about ecumenical schism. And so what I'm going to do today is kind of do a small case study. Let's do this as a case study in which Father Mike Schmitz of Ascension Presents, he has a video called Why Be Catholic and Not Just Christian. And Joe Martin of Tattooed Theist has a video that responds to that, which there needs to be more of, in which there needs to be, but he doesn't give an answer. Joe Martin doesn't give an answer. He talks about, so Father Mike Schmitz talks about how the Bible's infallible, and that with an infallible book, you need an infallible translator. And if you can't just, basically dump a infallible book anywhere because there won't be an infallible translator, and the Catholic Church has this authority. That's what he says at the end of the video. What it boils down to is authority. And Joe Barnes says how it's very arrogant to think that that your church is the only church. But Then he ends his video with respectful of he respects Mike Schmitz and the people he's led to and his ministry and to keep doing what he's doing, but there's no resolution. There's no this is why I'm making this video, is that how do Protestants and Catholics understand each other's theology better? And even though you'll agree with that, you understand where they are coming from with their interpretation and of the Bible and where the authority comes from, which is a huge, huge topic that I'm not covering. I'm just kind of sort of being kind of someone who wants to set up a conversation in which there can be this mutual respect and this mutual concept of, you know what, we have Christ. We have different theologies, but we have Christ, which really unifies us. Let's see. Psalm 133:1. It says, "How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity." Romans 12:5. So we, though many, are one body in Christ and individually members of one another. Which you can kind of read that as, oh, God doesn't want us to be separated, or you can read that in different ways, but at the end of the day, how I'm expressing my faith is different than others. I have AMDG. That is the Latin acronym for the greater glory of God, which is the motto of the Society of Jesus, which is a religious order within the Catholic Church. So you have people with these tattoos, but they're Catholic. Unless there's Protestants secretly running around with this tattoo, right? But that doesn't mean I'm Catholic. That means I share something that they have, in which I also feel can express. So I went on a junior senior retreat last year for when I was a senior in undergrad. And we went, and it was a very small group, and it was kind of like discerning our futures in less than 2 days, which you can't discern your entire life, or at least the next few months, within like 30 hours. Anyway, my point, I was the only Protestant, and the rest were Catholic, and it was this great sense of community. And then I went to a Protestant retreat the next weekend, and I said, "Oh, I was on a retreat last weekend, and it was Catholic." And I was asked, "Oh, are you Catholic?" I'm like, "No," because I'm thinking, I still have this ecumenical mindset that isn't a thing, and people give weird looks because there's no duality. There's no theological duality, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in ecumenicalism, because I have this sense of duality that is real, and right? So, what this point of this video was to break barriers in that. I live as a United Methodist Church, and I'm really enjoying being able to talk with people who are United Methodists, especially, and they just have the general conference. So, learning more about the structures of the church and how people in the church are responding to this. I'm not United Methodist, but I really do enjoy, because I was not told growing up what denomination. Well, I was told Pentecostals speak in tongues, but then someone came to my biblical authority interpretation class last semester and talked about Pentecostal church and that it's actually a movement and their theology for why they do what they do. So I think getting for Protestants is going to the source and having a just dialogue of, all right, what does the Catholic Church talk about this or that, or why do they get their theology, or clarify it. This I think that's where beautiful things can happen, and this unity. And I felt so much unity with my Catholic friends in the sense that I felt I was on the Kairos retreat, my first Kairos retreat, and to the university, and I was nervous going because the whole Protestant thing, but that okay, not big. There were people there that didn't believe in anything, so not that they didn't believe anything, they didn't have a religiosity. And during the mass, I felt I felt the spirit there. I felt love and unity, and it was really beautiful. And so I would I would encourage anyone else to I don't talk. You know, you could talk with a priest, talk with someone. First of all, talk to someone who you feel comfortable asking these questions to, and you know would be a good source, and also the Tim Staples his Catholic Answers podcast. Yeah, it is. I've listened to the bites on YouTube about different questions on what Catholics do and what that means, right? I think we all need to know, boil down to what does this mean, and what can this mean for the church, and where can there be love and unity between Protestants and Catholics, and where can we expand the greater glory of God by coming together. And I think I would encourage Catholics who aren't for ecumenicalism to kind of, this isn't about denominations or breaking of the church. This is about people coming together in community, not becoming a not forming a new church. But that's just what I would recommend to them. So on this day, on this beautiful Wednesday day, it's there's a blizzard outside, so I would recommend you kind of discern this video and discern your relationships with those who are part of a different church in which there can be love and mercy. All right, have a good day.